It's Thursday, February 16, 2017.
It's a priority for the Trump administration to fix our broken regulatory system.
Trump repeals anti-corruption regulation for the fossil fuel industry.
Crews are still cleaning up after a major oil pipeline was struck, spilling oil across a highway in Collin County.
From the folks bringing you the Dakota Access Pipeline, another major spill. Good news for breathers, bad news for coal miners in Arizona. U.S. emissions still declining, plus
these are really badly contaminated.
Scientists discover man-made toxic chemicals in the deepest part of the ocean.
All of those disturbing discoveries and more straight ahead. From BradBlog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
Stand by for 6 minutes of independent green news, politics, analysis, and snarky comment.
Better to get your news directly from the president. In fact, it might be the only way to get the unvarnished truth.
Just for the record, that's the chairman of the U.S. House Science Committee. We're screwed. This is your Green News Report. Okay, Desi Doyen, before we get started, I just want to note that we are now heading into our 9th year of the Green News Report. We have been doing this for 8 years. And my thanks to those of you who stopped by bradblog.com/donate to help us continue to connect the climate change dots.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Now, on to the news. A big win on Wednesday for the fossil fuel industry. President Trump signed a repeal of an anti-corruption measure in the Dodd-Frank banking oversight law that would have required U.S. oil companies to disclose to the Securities and Exchange Commission any payments that they make to foreign governments for drilling and mining rights. It was similar to provisions in the EU, created in part to help citizens in developing nations fight government corruption, bribery, and tax evasion. Fast repeal of that anti-corruption provision was a big priority for the fossil fuel industry and Republicans. New U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson personally lobbied against it back when he was ExxonMobil CEO. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer painted the repeal as crucial for small business.
Misguided federal regulations such as the SEC rule inflict real cost on the American people and put our businesses, especially small businesses, at a significant disadvantage.
Because, ExxonMobil is a small business. The Standing Rock Sioux Tribe and Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe this week filed a new court challenge to the Dakota Access Pipeline to overturn the Army Corps of Engineers' sudden approval of a final permit as ordered by the Trump administration. Now, in a story that got buried when it happened, that Trump order, it came just days after yet another major pipeline rupture, this time near Dallas, Texas. Struck by construction equipment, the high-pressure pipeline spilled 600,000 gallons of crude oil. It was the second spill on that new 1-year-old pipeline.
And I want to underscore that. This pipeline began operation in mid-2016. It has already spilled twice, but no need to worry about that same company and their Dakota Access Pipeline. I'm sure it'll all be fine.
Meanwhile, man-made toxic chemicals have contaminated even the deepest reaches of the ocean. According to a new study, tiny shrimp-like animals collected deep in the Pacific Ocean's Mariana Trench, 7 miles below the surface, are heavily contaminated with man-made chemicals like PCBs at levels similar to the most polluted waterways in the world. In an interview with NPR, biologist Alan Jameson said they were shocked at their findings.
Every sample we had contaminants in it at very high or extraordinarily high levels.
PCBs were banned decades ago, but persist in the environment and may have been absorbed by plastic pollution.
The Word of His Power 2017 conference featuring Bill Winston.
And you the ocean.
Yep.
Wow.
Good news for breathers in Arizona. The Navajo Generating Station, coal-fired power plant in northern Arizona, one of the biggest polluters in the nation, will close in 2 years, its owners announced this week, because cheap natural gas has made it unprofitable to run. That's bad news, however, for more than 900 coal mine and power plant workers. Tribal environmental activists with the Navajo Nation are pushing their leaders and state officials to develop renewable energy projects to create new jobs.
Like solar energy?
Well, they do have that in Arizona.
There is a little bit of sun out there.
Finally, some good news. Despite a rise in economic and industrial growth in the U.S. annual emissions of greenhouse gases have continued to drop. a little, declining a little more than 2% over 2015, according to the latest data. The EPA says more electric utilities are switching away from coal to cleaner burning natural gas, plus a decrease in electricity demand thanks to energy efficiency and warmer winter temperatures, reducing heating demand. Annual U.S. emissions have declined 11% below 2005 levels.
Well, we'll turn that around soon enough. For much more on all of these stories and the ones we couldn't get to, please check out our website at greennews.bradblog.com. Once again, our thanks to those of you who stopped by bradblog.com/donate to help the Green News Report stay on the air for what will now be our 9th year. Boy, oh boy. Thank you very much, Desi. I think. I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
And this has been your Green News Report.
I'm gonna soak up the sun. I got my 45 on so I can rock on.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe it. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
He didn't know that the U.S. government routinely taps calls to the Russians, which is stupid. That's the plot of every spy movie. America taps Russia's calls. Everyone should know that. And secondly, in his letter of resignation, he said he didn't lie to Mike Pence. He said that he just couldn't tell Pence the full story because of, quote, the fast pace of events. Yeah, that's not a valid excuse. Like, that just sounds like you're trying to tell someone a story and you're both on opposite trains, and that's why you couldn't tell them the story. Hey, Pence, I was talking to the Russians.
After it was revealed there were recordings of his conversation, Flint went from absolutely not to he couldn't be certain that the topic never came up. I know one way you could be certain. As the National Security Advisor, you could ask for the transcript.
Hello.
Could I see that, please?
Oh, no.
I should really not have this job. It's funny because it's treason.
According to the Washington Post, he set a record with his resignation as the White House National Security Advisor. No one in the 64-year history of the role had a shorter tenure than his. The average tenure is about 2.6 years. Flynn was on the job just 24 days. 24 days. I used disposable razors longer than that. He didn't even last as long as a David Blaine stunt.
Okay, he stole that. Didn't he? He stole that off Twitter. Holy crap! The president needs love, everybody. The president needs love. So let's have a long and lying press conference and top it off with a rally this weekend in Florida. Woohoo! Hashtag resist Melbourne. You're in Melbourne. If you're in Melbourne, he's having a big rally because he needs the love. He needs the love. He's not feeling the love. He's not seeing the love. The newspapers are at him. The CNN, the MSNBC, only Fox and Friends is loving on him, and it's not enough. He looks at the ratings. It's not enough. So he threw this press conference today. It was like willy-nilly. He's like, well, hey, let's have a press what is this? This is like the Little Rascals. Hey, let's put on a show. He threw together this press conference today. He is totally unprepared for it. He lies his ass off. He contradicts himself in every statement that he makes. He runs counter to reality, and then he says, and he did it to promote his rally in Melbourne, which he's having at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Even because it's Florida, you got to do everything on the early bird schedule. 5 freaking p.m. So if you're in the Melbourne area, please do plan on attending the Melbourne. You know, I guess his dream was always this, to travel the country, to rapturous crowds while Mike Pence and Paul Ryan work their asses off to deny people health care and roll back, regulations on black lung disease and coal mining. Wow, that was trippy, man. I haven't used that word probably my whole life, but I can't think of another word for what that press conference was. I don't know if you saw it because I know a lot of people are working. I know a lot of people are on the road. I know a lot of people are, doing, a lot of things. I mean, I would love to play you the whole thing. It was an hour and 15 minutes. Maybe after the show is over, we should air it. Post show or so, because I don't know that anybody will show it again except for C-SPAN, but holy crap, oh my God, he went after the media. He called them a liar, said he was there to drain the swamp, kept saying he won the election. If it's kind of like, if you don't like it, shove it up your ass. You're gonna write the truth, and I'm gonna stand here and call you liars for the next 4 years or 2 years or however long I get to stay here. I mean, this was, and then I'm topping it off with my third consecutive weekend in Florida. I mean, like, Florida doesn't have enough problems with our reputation. He says he's going to drain the swamp. Donald, Florida is the swamp. Get out of here. We're so sick of it. Oh, it's just crazy. It's just so this rally, I have to calm down, because this press conference was so strange. He actually said, they asked him about this Russian ship, and they asked him what he was going to do about it. And he said, I don't have to tell you what I'm going to do about it. I don't have to tell you anything. The thing is 30 miles off of Connecticut. 30 miles. And you know what he said? I'd love to get along with Russia. I really would. I don't have to tell you what I would. And then he actually said, the best thing I could do is blow it out of the water. Now, seriously, people, what did that mean? This is just crazy. And the front page of the Wall Street Journal today, the front freaking page, and I don't know what to say. It's the Wall Street Journal. What can you say? They said spies are keeping intelligence from Donald Trump on leak concerns. They're scared to give him real briefings. This is exactly what Harry Reid said.
Give him fake briefings.
What does that even mean?
It means they'll tell him stuff. He won't know the difference.
Now, we thought that was funny. Outgoing minority leader Harry Reid, leaving after 300 years in the Senate, wishing him well. But that was what he said. And now there's a front page story in the Wall Street Journal that says that they are doing just that. That sensitive information is being withheld from President Trump by intelligence officials and spies because they distrust him. They don't trust him. Listen. I'm sure they're giving him just enough information, for him to operate, but I'm pretty sure they're not telling him anything about methods and sources. I'm sure they're not giving him deep background on how they collected information because they don't want him to know methods and sources. You've got Michael Flynn. It's all very funny that he lasted 24 lousy days. They had to pull his security clearance yesterday, and if he's found innocent, they will restore it. They will. And God only knows what they told him and whether or not he can be trusted. According to the president, he can't be trusted. That's why he was fired. This is so creepy. This whole mess he's making, the whole freaking mess. All right, let me just play you a little bit of this. Okay, this is an attack on CNN first. Let's do the media thing. Okay. He started his press conference before the questions, and he did answer questions, and it went on for an hour and freaking 15 minutes. It was just bizarro world. But he started off saying that the media is fake and that we have to talk about it and that people would like it if you were different. They would like it much better. You see, this is, just let me insert this. This is what I mean when I say he's not lying to me. He's not lying to you. He's not lying to the New York Times reporters. He's not lying to the Reuters reporters. He's not lying to the Associated Press reporters. He's not lying to the Wall Street Journal reporters who are in those rooms. He's lying to his supporters. He's lying to his supporters. He's disinforming them of reality. That's what I keep telling you. And people say, why would he lie to us? Why, on my feet? Why would they lie to us? Because he wants you to believe he's doing the right thing, and he's not. He's not draining the swamp. He just loaded it up with people from Wall Street. In fact, yesterday, this I tweeted because this scared the bejesus out of me. There was an article that said that he was looking at the CEO of Cerberus, which is a big hedge fund, giant freaking hedge fund, Cerberus Capital Management. And he was looking at this guy, Mr. Feinberg, and asking Mr. Feinberg if he would come in and head up one of the intelligence agencies so that Donald Trump would know what was going on inside the intelligence agencies. He wants the spies spied on because he doesn't like the leaking. He doesn't like it. Well, leaking... Anybody remember Watergate? Woodward and Bernstein still around. Woodward aged better than Bernstein, but I like Bernstein better. He was also married to Nora Ephron. But yeah, you know, Woodward and Bernstein. Remember, they had a source inside the White House. His name was Deep Throat, which was hysterical because that was a crazy porn movie. I think it was the first one I ever saw. I didn't even really like that one. You know what I did like? The Devil and Miss Jones. Loved that one. It taught me an amazing lesson in life, and that was you can't kill yourself. If you do, you go to hell. And, you know, that's what happened to Miss Jones. She went to hell. So anyway... but they're saying that there was a role for this guy Stephen Feinberg from Cerberus Capital to go in and spy on the spies. This guy is best friends with Stephen Bannon. You know, more of the alt right but this one would be in the spy agencies and the spies. You know, the people who work in our intelligence community, shouldn't call them all spies because they're not all spies. Some are analysts, some are preparing reports, some are out in the field, some are spies. But you know, there's a ton of people. But they were going to put him, I say spies because they were going to put him in charge of the clandestine service. Meaning he would be in a position to give the names of the Valerie Plames of the world. Well, the intelligence community said, "Oh my God," and it seems like they are seriously interested in leaking stuff about Donald Trump's campaign. Because Donald Trump keeps attacking them. You don't call the intelligence community Nazis. You don't call the intelligence community, traitors, and then expect them to just, these people are risking their lives. So instead of, protecting them or sitting down or figuring out what's going, he said he was going to put this capital manager, this hedge fund manager into the clandestine service so the White House could have direct control over spies at a time when Trump is being investigated for close ties to one of our greatest adversaries, which Trump acknowledged today that Russia was our enemy because he said he should blow their ship out of the water. For those who ask me questions about how is this treason, Russia's not really our enemy. Well, your president said they were. Your president said that, I could tell you this about the briefings because, even if you read a book, you would know that a global thermal nuclear war is pure hell and it can't happen. So now we know what they're briefing him about. General information that's available to everybody. But it's really, and so he considers Russia an enemy according to his little dog and pony show this morning. But anyway, the last time you should know an outsider was inserted into the clandestine service, into the intelligence experience, was in the early days of Ronald Reagan. There was a guy named Max Hugel. And he was a businessman, and he worked for Reagan's campaign. And Reagan needed a job for him because he had raised so much money and done so much. So we put him into the spy service. His tenure at CIA was so tumultuous. There were so many questions about the politicization. That's a word I can't say. The politicizing of the agency that he lasted 6 whole months. Why? Because he was using the CIA for his business. He later won a libel case against 2 brothers who made these accusations that that he was doing this, that he was using it. But anyway, he lasted 6 months. It doesn't work. This is a profession. It's not something that you talk about or watch movies about and think, I have the Bourne Identity. Do you know? It doesn't work like that. This is real life. This is real life, and he's still doing some reality show. It's just unbelievable. All right, let me just play you. Let me play you 2 things real quick, okay? Just to show you how this went today. First, I'm going to play Donald Trump talking about what was very, very important to him today.
I put it out before the American people. Got 306 electoral college votes. I wasn't supposed to get 222. They said there's no way to get 222. 230 is impossible. 270, which you need, that was laughable. We got 306. Came out and voted like they've never seen before. So that's the way it goes. I guess it was the biggest electoral college win since Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
Mr. President.
You okay?
You said, I am just want to get on the table. Very simply, you said today that you had the biggest electoral margin since Ronald Reagan with 304 or 306 electoral votes. In fact, President Obama got 365 in 2008.
Well, I'm talking about Republicans.
President Obama 332 and George H.W. Bush 426 when he won as president. So why should Americans trust?
Well, no, I was given that information. I don't know. I was just given. We had a very, very big margin.
I guess my question is, why should Americans trust you when you accuse the information they receive of being fake when you're providing information that's...
Well, I don't know. I was given that information. I've seen that information around. But it was a very substantial victory. Do you agree with that?
You're the president.
Okay, thank you.
Holy crap. Do you see how that went today? I had the biggest electoral victory since Ronald Reagan. Mr. President, you just said a lie. You're calling us fake. You're saying we're the liars, and you just lied. You just lied to your supporters. Now, why are you doing that? How could you call us fake when you're standing there saying fake things all the time? 3 to 5 million people, illegally voted. You sit there and you say that. Oh, he talked about. I got to tell you this. This is just so sick. He talked about the travel ban. He kept saying, "You people in the media, you keep reporting that my administration is in chaos. Chaos, you say. This is a smooth running machine. It's just so silly that you would say it's so smooth. Everything's like it's a perfectly wound Swiss timepiece. This is sick. Listen to this.
Where are you from?
BBC.
Okay. Here's another beauty.
Oh my God.
It's a good line. Impartial, free and fair.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. President.
Just like CNN, right?
Oh my God.
On the travel ban, we could banter back and forth. On the travel ban, would you accept that was a good example of the smooth running of government?
Yeah, I do. Let me tell you about the travel.
Were there any mistakes in that?
Wait. I know who you are. Just wait. Let me tell you about the...
Wait a minute. He just said he didn't know who he was.
We had a very smooth rollout of the travel ban.
Smooth.
But we had a bad court. Got a bad decision. We had a court that's been overturned. Again, maybe wrong, but I think it's 80% of the time. A lot. We had a bad decision. We're going to keep going with that decision. We're going to put in a new executive order next week sometime. But we had a bad decision. That's the only thing that was wrong with the travel ban. You had Delta with a massive problem with their computer system.
It was Delta's fault.
You had some people that were put out there, brought by very nice buses, and they were put out at various locations. Despite that, the only problem that we had is we had a bad court. We had a court that gave us what I consider to be, with great respect, a very bad decision. Very bad for the safety and security of our country. The rollout was perfect. Now,
the rollout was perfect. Well done, Mr. President. No, there was no chaos. There was no chaos at the airports. And if there was, it was Delta was having a computer. Remember Harry Truman, the buck stops here? Yeah, not there. Not this. This is not that. This is pass the buck. This is, the art of the dodge. This is blame everyone. I'm perfect. This is sick. This is twisted. This is bizarre. This is heinous. This is ugly. He was actually asking reporters today to set up meetings for him with the Congressional Black Caucus. The woman stood up and she said, I'm a reporter. I don't set up meetings between Congress and the president. You're the president. What are you going to do? Why don't you call... He said the Congressional Black Caucus was going to, he said, it's a good idea. I should meet with them. In fact, I was going to meet with Elijah Cummings. And then, we called him and he doesn't answer his phone. What? So the Wall Street Journal are reporting that spy agencies are withholding information from Trump out of fear that it would be leaked. In other words, they're afraid that Trump will hand a spy over to Putin just to remain, in Putin's love and affection. And then he stands up there and lies and lies and lies about, I have no dealings with... I mean, everything he said today was just... It was bizarre. And then they asked him about, he keeps saying that the leaks are what we ought to investigate. The leaks about Russia, that's the problem. So CNN stood up after he excoriated CNN. He excoriated Don Lemon. He excoriated everybody at CNN to their face, behind their back. Just amazing. The BBC, you heard the way he treated him, right? 3 people asked him about anti-Semitic behavior. He said, I won the election. and I won it big. This is his answer for all this anti-Semitism. One time he said, oh, it's the Democrats that are doing it. Yeah, we're painting swastikas in Boca. Wow.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.
Now that Trump's moved into the White House, I know. You could see he wasted no time. He went to work for his ultra-wealthy pals. He's making fundamental economic changes that are going to affect your money and your retirement. He's chipping away at banking regulations. You know he's going after Dodd-Frank, and that unwinds the fiduciary rule. That's a rule that keeps your money safe from deceptive financial practices. Like I said before, this administration is so awful. They are so greedy. And that's why now, more than ever, is the best time to diversify your retirement portfolio like I did. Gold's low correlation with stocks and bonds can help you in times of uncertainty. Call my friends at ITM Trading. Get a free gold kit. Learn why gold survives every government, every currency, every economic crisis. Call ITM today at 1-888-OWN-GOLD for guidance from their precious metals experts. They've helped thousands of people just like me buy gold and silver coins and bars, and they can help you too. 1-888-OWN-GOLD. Call 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1870. That was the day the powerful labor orator Leonora O'Reilly was born to an Irish immigrant garment worker in New York City. During her lifetime, Leonora left her special mark on the labor movement as a member of some of the leading organizations of working people of her day. At age 11, she went to work at a collar-making factory. By 16, she joined the Knights of Labor. Her activism as a feminist, suffragist, and trade union organizer led her to help form a chapter for women workers as part of the United Garment Workers of America. Leonora also helped to found the Women's Trade Union League chapter in New York. Although Leonora helped to found these women's organizations, she continued to push for men's unions to open up their doors to women members. She believed it would take men and women working together to improve labor conditions. Her skill as an orator put her in great demand. At the peak of her career as an organizer, she averaged one speech a day. After giving a speech to a large union of New York telegraphers, their newsletter declared, "There is no record anywhere of a more magnificent speech than the one delivered by Miss O'Reilly." Leonora was a founding member of the organization that eventually became the NAACP. She spoke frequently about women's suffrage. In 1912, she appeared before a joint Senate committee to testify about the need for women to gain access to the ballot box, where she lived up to her fiery reputation, declaring, "You cannot and will not make laws for us. We must make laws for ourselves. We working women need the ballot for self-protection." That is all there is to it. Like what you hear? Check out more at laborhistoryin2.com.
We did it, you bastards! We're live! And it only took 2 years! Okay. All right. So we're back, we're live, and you're there, and we're here, and ain't that great? Now let me just tell you that if you want to listen whenever and wherever you'd like to listen, just go to RandiRhodes.com, click on Podcasts and Swag, and get your podcast commercial-free, on demand, on any device. RandiRhodes.com. Open all day, every day.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
On that, just something that Jonathan Carl was asking you about. You said that the leaks are real, but the news is fake. I guess I don't understand. It seems that there's a disconnect there. If the information coming from those leaks is real, then how can the stories be fake?
The reporting is fake.
And if I may ask, I just want to ask
Jim, you know what it is? Here's the thing. The public isn't, they read newspapers, they see television, they watch. They don't know if it's true or false because they're not involved. I'm involved. I've been involved with this stuff all my life.
Oh, my God.
But I'm involved. So I know when you're telling the truth or when you're not. I just see many, many untruthful things. And I'll tell you what else I see. I see tone. You know the word tone. The tone is such hatred. I'm really not a bad person, by the way. No, but the tone is such...
Oh, my God.
I do get good ratings, you have to admit that.
Oh, my God! Oh, my God! The leaks are real, but the news is fake. I got news for you. The people on the Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, for one, said that the people in the intelligence community who are going to him do have major concerns about the president. He said, I think those concerns take a number of forms. He said, what the intelligence community considers their most sacred obligation is to protect the very best, the very best intelligence and to protect the people that are producing it. See, here's the thing. The people in the intelligence community, they take an oath to protect and defend the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And they are living up to their oath when they say, we do not trust this president with methods and sources and various collection activities. We don't want to tell him. We don't trust him. We don't think he's lucid. We don't think he's, with it. We don't think he understands the world. We don't think he gets what we do, how we put our lives in danger, or what analysts do to assess the information that is collected for its veracity. He doesn't get it. And we don't want to expose anything valuable to keep that we need to keep America safe from all enemies, foreign and domestic, by telling it to him. He's got lunatics around him. People that run fake news sites like Steve Bannon of Breitbart. We don't trust him. We watch his press briefings. He calls on Town Hall and Christian Broadcasting. It's ridiculous. And so they're going to Congress and they're telling Congress we have concerns. And Congress is telling the media what they know about the concerns. Oh, it's just so amazing. And that's why the leaks, but he just went on and on and on. It was lunatic. It was lunacy. This is the most unhinged president I've ever seen. And we lived through W, who, wore a codpiece and stood on an aircraft carrier off of San Diego to try and pretend he was in the Gulf of Hormuz. And he was really in San Diego, and he stood under a sign that said Mission Impossible and called himself the commander guy. And we thought that was lunacy. It's nothing. It's nothing. And all that lunatic did was crash our economy and take us into two wars and ride up the debt to, a couple of multiple trillions of dollars, right? 6 trillion over here and 7 trillion over there and 6 billion gets lost. And oh my God. And that was nothing. Nothing.
I just want to get you to clarify, this is a very important point. Can you say definitively that nobody on your campaign had any contacts with the Russians during the campaign? And on the leaks, is it fake news or are these real leaks?
Well, the leaks are real. You're the one that wrote about them and reported them. The leaks are real. You know what they said. You saw it. And the leaks are absolutely real. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. So one thing...
The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. Hey, there's some solid reasoning. Let's put him in charge of, Iran and Russia and decisions of life and death and regulations on, mining and fracking. Let's put him in charge. He sounds perfect.
Unfortunately, much of the media in Washington, D.C., along with New York, Los Angeles in particular, speaks not for the people.
Oh, my God.
But for the special interests and for those profiting off a very, very obviously broken system.
Oh, what does he mean?
The press has become so dishonest that if we don't talk about it, we are doing a tremendous disservice to the American people. Tremendous disservice. We have to talk about it to find out what's going on, because the press honestly is out of control. The level of dishonesty is out of control. I ran for president to represent the citizens of our country. I am here to change the broken system so it serves their families and their communities well.
He's delusional, man. He put every Wall Street hedge fund manager he ever ran into Treasury. And Steve Mnuchin, the foreclosure king, was just confirmed as Secretary of the Treasury, 2 days ago? Steve Mnuchin, the man who needs a bowel movement worse than any constipated person I have ever seen in my life, is now the Secretary of the Treasury. Oh my God. Mike Pompeo, a congressman from Kansas, is in charge of the CIA. This is lunatic. Okay, let me just show you. The other day when he was with he called him Netanyahu today. He called Netanyahu today. I swear to God, this was this man. I don't know. Somebody needs to adjust whatever meds he's on, and if he's not, give him some. Something's so wrong. But yesterday when he was with Netanyahu, he was asked about anti-Semitism, the rise of anti-Semitism, and what are you going to do about it? And he said, he won the election. He was, people like me.
Mr. President, since your election campaign and even after your victory, we've seen a sharp rise in anti-Semitic incident across the United States. And I wonder, what do you say to those among the Jewish community in the States and in Israel and maybe around the world who believe and feel that your administration is playing with xenophobia and maybe racist tones?
Well, I just want to say that we are, very honored by the victory that we had.
Oh my God!
306 electoral college votes. We were not supposed to crack 220. You know that, right?
That was yesterday.
There was no way to 221, but then they said there's no way to 270. And there's tremendous enthusiasm out there. I will say that we are going to have peace in this country. We are going to stop crime in this country. We are going to do everything within our power to stop long simmering racism and every other thing that's going on, because a lot of bad things have been taking place over a long period of time.
What?
I think one of the reasons I won the election is we have a very, very divided nation. Very divided. And hopefully I'll be able to do something about that. And it was something that was very important to me. As far as people, Jewish people, so many friends, a daughter who happens to be here right now, a son-in-law, and 3 beautiful grandchildren. I think that you're going to see a lot different United States of America over the next 3, 4, or 8 years.
Oh, no.
I think a lot of good things are happening, and you're going to see a lot of love. You're going to see a lot of love. Okay? Thank you.
What the? I have some Jewish relatives. 48 bomb threats have been called in to Jewish centers and synagogues. That's what the reporter from Israel was asking him about. We showed you the story from Boca Raton, this mother whose son is studying in Israel right now. They live in a community that is well known in Boca Raton to be home to elderly Holocaust survivors and their children, because they're Orthodox Jews. And so they like to be close to the temple, and they like to be close to each other so that when Shabbat comes on Friday, they can walk to each other's houses. So, this is one of the things that they consider when they pick a place to live. So this community is very well known to people to be an Orthodox Jewish community where 72-year-olds, and their children and their grandchildren all live. This 20-year-old kid, his car was just sitting, unattended, and somebody went there and painted a giant 2-foot swastika on it. That's just the latest one. So that's what the reporter was asking him about. And he says, I have some Jewish friends, and in fact, my daughter converted. So, and I won. And I think I won because the country is so divided. I won. So he's saying, basically, he knows that there are anti-Semites who voted for him, and that's who elected him, and that's how I won. Then today, there was another question about that. They asked it 3 times today, hoping for a damn answer. So here's today, okay?
Wait, let's see. I want to find a friendly reporter.
Oh,
Used
my
to say
God.
it was John. Are you a friendly reporter? Watch how friendly he is. Wait, watch how friendly he is. Go ahead.
I've been good to the entire campaign, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
So, first of all, my name is Jake Turks from Ami Magazine, and despite what some of my colleagues may have been reporting, I haven't seen anybody in my community accuse either yourself or anyone on your staff of being anti-Semitic. We understand that you have Jewish grandchildren, you are their Zaidi. However, what we are concerned about, and what we haven't really heard being addressed, is an uptick in anti-Semitism and how the government is planning to take care of it. There's been a report out that 48 bomb threats have been made against Jewish centers all across the country in the last couple of weeks. There are people who are committing anti-Semitic acts or threatening to.
You see, he said he was going to ask a very simple, easy question. And it's not. It's an important It's not a simple question, not a fair question. Okay,
not a fair question.
I understand the rest of your question. So here's the story, folks. Number one, I am the least anti-Semitic person that you've ever seen in your entire life. Number two,
if that's
racism.
true, we're screwed.
The least racist person.
Oh my
In fact,
God.
we did very well relative to other people running as a Republican. Quiet. See, he lied about he was going to get up and ask a very straight, simple question. So, it's welcome to the world of the media. But let me just tell you something, that I hate the charge. I find it repulsive. I hate even the question, because people that know me, and you heard the Prime Minister, you heard Netanyahu yesterday.
Netanyahu.
Did you hear him? Bibi. He said, I've known Donald Trump for a long time. And then he said, forget it. So you should take that instead of having to get up and ask a very insulting question like that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my God, he said, no one in my community has ever accused you of being anti-Semitic. And then somebody else followed up and said, Mr. President, this is not about your personality. This is not about you. This is about things that are really happening. 48 bomb threats have been called into Jewish centers. What are you going to do to address this? This man stood up and said, no one in my community has ever called you anti-Semitic to my knowledge. This has nothing to do with you and your personality this is about real things. So what are you going to do about it? He says, he lied. He stood up. He said he was going to ask me a simple question. No, you went looking for a friendly reporter. You saw an Orthodox Jew. You assumed he was going to be friendly to you, and then he was. And then he asked you a question. The question said, I don't believe you're anti-Semitic. But the fact is that there are anti-Semitic activities. There are posters being put up everywhere. There's spray painting of swastikas going on. There are people on the internet that are saying Jews ought to be in ovens now. And 48 bomb threats have been called into Jewish centers and synagogues. What are you going to do about it? How do you solve the problem of the rise of anti-Semitism in this country? And he says, I find your question insulting. That's why we say he's unhinged. He has no connection to reality. Everything has to be funneled through the vessel that is Donald Trump. And if he doesn't like the results that he's seeing in the country, then it's not happening. And then the third person who asked him the question about anti-Semitism was told that it's Democrats that are doing it. And I didn't even get to record that, but it was so bizarre. If you see this if you don't see the press conference in its entirety, please, I'm begging you, go to cspan.org, okay, and click on the February 16th press conference and watch that damn thing. It'll take you an hour and 15 minutes, but it is the most bizarre, heinous thing you've ever seen in your life. He actually got sick of the question, so much so that he said, oh, you know who's really doing, he just makes this crap up. He goes, you know who's really doing it? It's the Democrats. They're the ones that are calling in the bomb threats. They're the ones that are doing the placards. They're the ones that are painting the swastikas. It's them. It's dirty politics. It's them. 3 tries. First he said, I won. To the Israeli reporter. Today he said to this guy, I find your question insulting, even though he couched it and said, we don't think you personally are an anti-Semite. Let's get that out of the way. However, these things are happening. What are you going to do to address them? And he said, I find your question insulting. And then the third person asked, and he said, it's the Democrats. They're the ones that are doing it. This is madness. This is mass madness. Remember, I keep telling you, this country will never be destroyed from without. We have seen Pearl Harbor attack, for God's sake. We have had a nuclear arms crisis. We have had CIA officers, killed. We have had our troops attacked in Beirut, Lebanon, and Marines killed. We have had 9/11. We have had anthrax attacks. We will never be destroyed from without, but we will and could be destroyed from within. This is what the intelligence community knows.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
You're listening to WIN, Workers Independent News, a diversified media enterprises production. I'm Doug Cunningham. A massive campaign waged against U.S. Labor Secretary nominee Andy Puzder forced his withdrawal on Wednesday. AFL-CIO President Rich Trumka says it's a reminder of the collective power of working people. Trumka says it also sends a message to Trump that it's time to change course completely, not double down. Trumka says Puzder's withdrawal is great news for everyone who wants an America where wages rise, benefits are strong, and unions are growing. It's time, Trumka says, for Trump to turn campaign promises about supporting workers into real action. Fight for 15 says this is a major victory for the Fight for 15, but we can't and won't back down until the Trump administration gives us a real labor secretary who will put working people over corporate profits. South Carolina Boeing workers voted against IAM union representation Wednesday. A strong anti-union campaign was waged by Boeing in the most union-hostile state in America. The IAM says it'll stay in touch with South Carolina Boeing workers. There's a one-year wait, though, before another election could be scheduled. IAM organizer Mike Evans said, "We're disappointed the workers at Boeing, South Carolina will not yet have the opportunity to see all the benefits that come with union representation. But more than anything," Evans said, "we are disheartened that they will have to continue to work under a system that suppresses wages, fosters inconsistency, and awards only a chosen few." The IAM says Boeing workers endured a multifaceted anti-union campaign, which included captive audience meetings of workers and massive TV, radio, and billboard ad buys. The IAM says it remains committed. The IAM says it remains committed to getting South Carolina Boeing workers the respect, wages, and consistency they deserve. Immigrants will hold a large rally at Federal Immigration Court in Manhattan Thursday to protest the detention of Daniel Ramirez Medina and recent ICE immigration raids. Medina was arrested in Seattle. Hundreds of immigrant families were targeted in nationwide raids last week, including people previously protected from deportation by the Obama administration's defense of young undocumented immigrants who arrived in the U.S. as children. Make the Road New York, an immigrants' rights group, says immigrants are here to stay and will resist attacks on our community. The group objects to mass deportations as an immigration policy, in part because it tears mostly hardworking, otherwise law-abiding families apart. WIN is brought to you in part by the Amalgamated Transit Union, the largest labor union representing transit and allied workers in the U.S. and Canada. Online at atu.org.
Sponsored by Iron Workers Impact, now reserving spots for this year's groundbreaking conference, welcoming contractors to grow their business by networking and attending world-class breakouts. More on this event in San Diego, happening March 19th through the 22nd, is found online at impact-net.org under Events.
You've been listening to WIN, Workers Independent News. For more information, visit laborradio.org.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
The Randi Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
All things Randy at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
You look at your show that goes on at 10 o'clock in the evening. You just take a look at that show. That is a constant hit. The panel is almost always exclusive anti-Trump. The good news is he doesn't have good ratings, but the panel is almost exclusive anti-Trump. And the hatred and venom coming from his mouth. the hatred coming from other people on your network. Now, I will say this. I watch it. I see it. I'm amazed by it. And I just think you'd be a lot better off. I honestly do. The public gets it, you know. Look, when I go to rallies, they turn around, they start screaming at CNN. They want to throw their placards at CNN, you know. I think you would do much better by being different. But you just take a look. Take a look at some of your shows in the morning and the evening. If a guest comes out and says something positive about me, it's brutal. Now, they'll take this news conference. I'm actually having a very good time, okay? But they'll take this news conference. Don't forget, that's the way I won. Remember, I used to give you a news conference every time I made a speech, which was like every day. Okay? No, that's how I won. I won with news conference and probably speeches. I certainly didn't win by people listening to you people, that's for sure. But I'm having a good time.
Oh my God! He is having a good time. He's out there just amusing himself. He's a clown. What, I amuse you? Yes, you are a clown. What's so funny about me? Actually, it's not funny. You're a sad clown. But he's a clown, and he's out there clowning. And he's out there clowning around. And now he's going to go to Melbourne and have he thinks that, because he's losing, there's going to be so much winning. How do you like the winning so far, sir? He's actually, winning. We'll get so sick of it. He's losing. He knows he's losing. The disapproval ratings are up. Nobody likes this man. People are actually afraid of him. And he's going back to the press conferences and the rallies because A, he enjoys the love, and B, he lies to the supporters, which gets them all going again. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! I everybody is calling this the most unhinged thing that they have ever seen. There's not one single solitary journalistic outlet, and that thought that this was a well done, good job, and that he answered the questions about Flynn or he answered anybody's questions about anything. I mean, the rollout of the ban was smooth. He just got a bad court decision. Are you out of your freaking mind? It was chaos until until there was a stay and said, "Stop doing this. You're creating chaos." All right. Well, Don in Los Angeles.
Hey, Andy, love your show.
Thank you.
Hey, I actually have a little bit of a confession to make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Trump is president, and it's way, way worse than anyone ever thought it would be. But I gotta say, you said to stay and fight, and I'm kind of enjoying staying and fighting. And seeing Trump stumble all over himself, and to see the wheels start to come off, all the work of, marching and protesting and calling my Congress people makes it all worth it. Ninth Circuit, Flynn, Chaffetz's town hall, Puzder, and we have a lot of work left to do, but I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm kind of enjoying seeing the wheels come off of this administration.
Somebody's calling you, but yes, it is fun to stand up for democracy. It is fun to not have to govern and to just be on the, in the opposition party. There is something to that. This is what the Republicans enjoyed so much when Obama was president. They didn't have to govern. Right. All they had to do was obstruct and stand in the way. So now it's our job to do it, and we're finally getting to have some fun because we were so busy cleaning up the mess from Bush from W. When it's so interesting today. Did you hear Trump say, I inherited a mess. I inherited such a mess. A mess domestically and a mess in foreign affairs. And meanwhile, Obama saved us from declaring bankruptcy and going over the cliff. When Obama came into the office, we were bleeding 800,000 jobs a month, every month. People were losing their houses. We had ISIS that was just, blowing crap up all over. We've killed 60,000 ISIS fighters, and unemployment in this country is 4.9%. How could this man say he inherited a mess?
Exactly. Obama left things in pretty damn good shape for Trump, and, the thing that's actually saving Trump is that he's kind of riding Obama's success a little bit. But I think that what's interesting to see is that as that Trump ship goes down, it'll be interesting to see which Republicans actually stick with him and which kind of bail out on him, because that once Trump starts going down, he's taking everyone with him. he's not just shrinking the base, but he's going to destroy the Republican Party.
Yes, and there are already 7 senators. The House, no, not so much. Okay, the Jason Chavez of the world, somebody's calling you and it's driving me crazy. Answer your phone. But Jason Chavez, who's on the Oversight Committee, he doesn't want to investigate anything. Okay, is that me? How could that be me?
That did it, I think. You dropped the line.
Okay.
And then Nunes, who's on the Intelligence Committee, he doesn't want to investigate, but I will tell you the Senate does. The Senate, you got McCain and Graham, because, wherever McCain goes, Lindsey Graham's right behind him, which is a little creepy. But you have Bob Corker from Tennessee. Bob Corker, Roy Blunt from Missouri, he wants to investigate. Richard Burr of North Carolina. Cornyn from Texas, really, they all want to investigate not the leaks. They want to investigate the whether or not the campaign, and you can't get a straight answer from him, whether or not the campaign, not Flynn when he was on the transition team and coming in, not that period of time. Oh no, he did that for 23 days. We're talking about the 365 days prior, even maybe longer, during the campaign, when the media reported that they were in constant contact, the campaign was, with Russian intelligence or Russian government officials. They want to look into that. They want to find out what the F was going on, because you had Trump out on the campaign trail saying he loved Vladimir Putin, that he knew him, but then he didn't know him. He talked to him, but he didn't talk to him. He met him, but he didn't meet him. Whatever. That's what they want to investigate. And Donald Trump will not give them a straight answer. They asked 80 different ways today. Can you say that your campaign never spoke to anyone in Russia? You go, I don't know anybody in Russia. I don't have anybody to talk to that's Russian. Well, you better talk to your tenants, because in 2008, your son said that the Trump organization was awash in Russian money, that a great deal of your assets were coming from Russia, okay? And that you were just being wowed by the amount of investment that the Trump organization was seeing from Russia, okay? So that's number one. Number two, half your tenants are from Russia. What do you mean you don't know anybody from? He just lies, and it's such an easily debunkable lie. It's amazing how he lies. And it's the same with Kellyanne Conway. She opens up her mouth, and she lies, and people debunk her like in real time. It's amazing. It's just so, if you understand the news, okay, this is my favorite thing. Every Sunday, I believe it is, the Washington Post has a news quiz. Every Sunday. How well do you know the news? And every Sunday I take that quiz. And then every Sunday, I miss one that has to do with sports. And sometimes they'll throw in a ballet question. And I'm like, I don't know. I can't plie. I haven't been at the bar. I will never be that girl. I can't make that motion gracefully. It's not me. But anyway, so I'll miss one. But if you know the news, then you know he's lying. It's just so amazing. And he's sitting there in a room full of reporters who obviously know the news, and he's lying to them, and they're just stunned by it. They're just blown away. And it's not by the audacity of it. They're blown away at the lack of responsibility that the President of the United States takes for anything that's going on. He doesn't take responsibility for anything. He plays the blame game every time he opens his mouth. The buck stops here is now pass the buck. The art of the deal is now the art of the dodge. He plays, that's why he has a good time. He thinks it's funny. It's pathetic. It's sad. It's scary. It's frightening. He blamed the judges, so-called judges. He blames the intelligence community. In his sarcastic air quotes, right? Now he blames the media. Nothing is his fault.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
I love me some beef jerky. I do. I love beef jerky. People make fun of me, but if you're a jerky lover, you know we're real picky about the jerky. You want big protein, big flavor, big packs, and very little carbs. And that's why my favorite snack is jerky, but you can't get the best stuff at the gas station. You can't even get it at the supermarket. You have to order it online from the best purveyors of jerky I've ever found, Herky Jerky. Herky Jerky is the official snack of the Randi Rhodes Air Force, and it comes in elk, buffalo, beef, and bacon. Oh yes, bacon. Hot, mild, 14 other incredible flavors too. And right now, get $6 off your order of $50 or more. And these aren't little 3-ounce frou-frou bags of jerky. These are big, beautiful, nearly 1-pound bags of fresh, delicious, perfectly spiced jerky that bites and chews like homemade jerky should. Go to herkyjerky.com and buy your 12.5 or 2-pound pack and take them with you everywhere. School, work, camping, or just stick the sticks in your bag for quick protein that feels and tastes like heaven. herkyjerky.com.
This is the top of the hour from the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. Instead of commercials, you've got progressive news and interviews right here at the top of the hour.
Hello, Progressive Voices TuneIn listeners. I'm Casey Hobbs.
And I'm Shane Mason, and we're the hosts of Nurse Talk Radio.
Here's what we're talking about this week.
So, Casey, I know we have a busy show today, but I wanted to take a minute to have you sign some orders for me.
What kind of orders? And why do I have to sign them?
Well, they're orders that I think will make a lot of nurses very happy, and patients are going to love them. And if you don't sign them, our country will be in great danger.
Why me? I don't have authority to sign any kind of sweeping orders.
I promise this is going to bring comfort, safety, and prosperity to all who are affected. It's going to be beautiful.
Wow, where have I heard that before? Okay, fine. Give it to me.
The first one is, effective immediately, all hospital CEOs and non-medical management staff will be replaced by nurses and will include a patient's board of advisors. It's going to be nice. You'll like it.
Have our attorneys looked at these?
No.
Has anybody but you looked at these?
No.
Okay, where do I sign?
All right, this one is, effective tomorrow, all big pharma CEOs and executive staff who are suspected of price gouging will be arrested and convicted of racketeering and robbery the day after you sign this. Further, they'll be sentenced to work in the pill production lines for a period of 5 years or more, and they'll receive $3 an hour, which will go towards the cost of their very own incarceration. Now, you're going to like this one. Safe staffing ratios. We're going to have the best safe staffing.
Now, I like this one. I'm into this now. I feel very powerful, important. Give me the next one.
Social Security provides life insurance, disability insurance, and pensions, annuities that you cannot outlive, that will stay with you for the rest of your life.
Every month, 60 million receive Social Security benefits. Nearly 2 out of 3 seniors depend on it for most of their income.
Without it, the poverty rate of our seniors would be 44%.
So when I see and hear that Social Security is going bankrupt, and when I see and hear that it's contributing hugely to the national debt, what am I actually hearing? Are those numbers being cooked in some way? What's going on?
They're not being cooked, but they're being spun.
Mm-hmm.
This is propaganda. I mean, first of all, Social Security, as I say, has this dedicated revenue that goes into a trust fund, just like a private trust. It's a trust that's held on behalf of American workers. Most of the revenue comes from premiums paid by workers and matched by their employers. Whenever there's a surplus, that money is invested, and so there is investment income is a second source. And in 1983, a decision was made to tax benefits the way that private pensions are taxed, so part of your income tax for income tax purposes, and that money is paid into and dedicated to Social Security. So the biggest source is the premiums, and then about 8% of the revenue comes from the other two sources.
So why is Social Security irreplaceable then, Nancy?
It really is a program that works, and that really only works the best when we all are part of it. And Social Security is so valuable because, as I say, it's basic wage insurance, sponsored by the government, so all of us participate, all of us contribute, and then all of us draw out when one of the insured events occurs. Now, Social Security is extremely conservatively managed and financed. You know, most pension plans project out 10, 20, 30 years. Most countries around the world project out their Social Security 20 or 30 or 40 years. Social Security every year projects out 75 years. When you project out, that's almost as long as the program's been around. When you project out that far, you're occasionally going to show surpluses unintended. You're occasionally going to find unexpected shortfalls. It's nothing to be alarmed about. It's like you have a highway system. You expect that there's going to need upkeep and maintenance. And that's where this myth that it's going bankrupt. So that is just a lie that it contributes anything to the deficit.
Do you know what the Republicans are suggesting to put in place? They want to get rid of Social Security. Do they have a better plan?
They don't have a better plan. They have a different plan. And this has been a plan they've had since 1935. And that is, first of all, for the most part, they believe everybody on their own. So it's, they don't like this idea that we're all in this together.
Yeah, why would you want to think
and people on Wall Street would love to get some of this money. The other is ideological. Social Security puts a lie to the claim that the private sector always does everything better than the public sector. The private sector has an important role to play, but so does our government, and Social Security is one of those. And the idea is that we all contribute. We're the United States. We're not just individuals. We are collectively together, and this is a program where we all contribute and we all have this level of protection. The Republican Party wants to cut and completely dismantle Social Security and Medicare. So it is very important for people to stay vigilant and involved and let their members know no cuts to Social Security, no cuts to Medicare. Not only can we fully afford Social Security, we can fully afford a much expanded Social Security, and that's what we should be doing.
Check out our show at nursetalksite.com and listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on Progressive Voices.
You've been listening to Top of the Hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. Commercial-free interviews and exclusive progressive news and information at the top of the hour.
Hi, we're back, and everything is possible again. Isn't it beautiful? Well, if you want to keep it this way, buy a stinking podcast. Oh yes, you have to buy a stinking podcast, and you get that at randyrhodes.com, where we're open all day, all night long. randyrhodes.com. Get your stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal. To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's a figment of your imagination. Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. President, two questions, both following.
No, one question. Two we can't handle. This one can't handle. Go ahead. Give me the better of your two.
I'll follow up on my colleague's question about anti-Semitism. It's not about your personality or your beliefs. We're talking about a rise in anti-Semitism around the country, some of it by supporters in your name. What can you do?
And some of it, and can I be honest with you? And this has to do with racism and horrible things that are put up. Some of it written by our opponents. You do know that. Do you understand that?
No.
You don't think anybody would do a thing like that. Some of the signs you'll see are not put up by the people that love or like Donald Trump. They're put up by the other side. And you think it's like playing it straight? No. But you have some of those signs, and some of that anger is caused by the other side. They'll do signs and they'll do drawings that are inappropriate. It won't be my people. It will be the people on the other side to anger people like you.
Oh my God. This man is, that was the third time he was asked about the anti-Semitic activities in this country that are on the rise. The Southern Poverty Law Center has documented white nationalism, white supremacy. The alt-right is obviously, he's got the genius bar of white nationalists inside the White House. He's got Bannon, he's got Miller, he's got Michael Anton, he's got all these white supremacists around him. And even when you put the question to him in the most delicate way, going, nobody in my community has called you an anti-Semite, Mr. President. However, there have been 48 bomb threats called in the last 2 weeks against Jewish synagogues and community centers. What are you going to do about it? I hate that question. You're insulting me. Sit down. Then somebody says, all right, listen, I got to follow up on this question because it's obviously true. What are you going to do about the rise in anti-Semitism in this country? And I've seen it. People have been running. You need to be in an oven and all this, and he says, it's coming from the other side. It's coming from the other side. That was his third shot at it. Yesterday, the Israeli newspaper asked him about it. It's made its way over to Israel that we have a president who does nothing except hire people from white nationalist organizations and surrounds himself with alt-right Nazis and white supremacists and all this. And they asked him, what about it? And he said, I won. This is sick. And then he holds up his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, as proof. That's like, I have a black friend. What is wrong with this man? What is wrong with him? His administration is built around a brain trust of white nationalists. It's unbelievable to me. You could just keep collecting these things and just keep playing them. And of course, Donald Trump isn't lying to you, and he's not lying to me. He's trying to, but he's not doing it because we know he's lying. He's doing this for his supporters. He's telling them, I'm giving you cover. I will never, admit that I'm surrounded with a brain trust of white nationalists. I will never say that, Mr. Miller, who we were trying out for Sean Spicer's job the other day, who made an absolute fool of himself as well, thinks that outsiders do not share their Judeo-Christian values, and that Steve Bannon thinks that the white man is under attack in this country and we ought to deport all the brown people, and we need to declare Islam a religion that is not compatible with the United States and our way of life, and all. Oh my God, he blames the other side. This is just mind-blowing how ridiculous a man this is, and how frightening a person he is, and how willing to obstruct and lie and obfuscate and just lay in the mud he is. He's just so willing to do it. David in Cartersville, Georgia.
Hey, Randy.
Hi.
Enjoying listening to you. I guess I'm looking for advice.
Mm-hmm.
Around where I am, just the way you are and how just you see through all this, they are the other side, complete opposite, and there's nothing you're going to say to convince them otherwise. They're already posting on Facebook today. It was brilliant what he did.
My God.
Brilliant. He put the media in their place. He is just and there's nothing you're going to do, nothing you're going to say. In fact, their comeback is, "I'm a snowflake." If I put something like I put on Facebook the other days, what did President Trump know and when did he know it? Called a snowflake. I'm a lib. And
you know what? I'm part of a hashtag called How to Spot a Snowflake.
Okay.
And my answer was, we're lucid at noon, meaning, we're not drunk. We have all of our teeth. I mean, that's a really good hashtag. You should send them to that one, How to Spot a Snowflake. I mean, what are these names? They've named me after some unique and special thing, force of nature. So some people are putting, we're snowflakes, and we're going to come at you like an avalanche because we're all sticking together, I mean, that's a good hashtag that you should send them to so that they can see that, it is they who are the odd man out.
Well, are they the odd man out?
Yes, they are. Listen, his disapproval ratings are 55%. Of course they're in the minority in this country. That's why he's doing these things. That's why he's having these ridiculous dog and pony show press conferences and going back to the rally format, because he's trying to energize the people who are so disappointed in all the losing that's going on. The chaos that they saw with the Muslim ban, the chaos that they saw, they know that he ordered this attack in Yemen, and it was an absolute disaster. This could be his ban. They know that he's been in touch with Russia through the whole campaign. everybody knows it. The media knows it. The Wall Street Journal knows it. The intelligence community knows it. 7 Republican senators have joined with the 48 Democratic senators. They know it. Everyone knows that this man is a loser. Everyone. You know what happened after this press conference? The Republicans had a closed-door meeting. They're freaked out by him.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, they ran into the cloakroom and they said, closed door meeting. What do we do when the president's crazy?
You're okay. What can they possibly do, though? I mean, he is the president. Is there anything they can do other than we just have to bear out 4 years? I mean,
yes, there's something. I mean, obviously, you're seeing what can be done. You're seeing the checks and balances being applied to the executive branch. You're seeing Congress wants to investigate. That's the legislative branch. You're seeing the court check his authority, saying that Muslim ban of his was unconstitutional. You're seeing, you're seeing law enforcement in various places refuse to hand over the immigrants that are being hunted down now like dogs. You're seeing the religious part of our country. Churches are now giving safe haven to women and children who may be here illegally but have been here for 20 years and their children are American citizens so that the families don't get broken up. You're seeing the intelligence agency check on his power by keeping important details away from him, not details that would allow him to react to some horrible thing. Like he knows that there's a Russian ship 30 miles off the coast. He knows that. He just doesn't understand how we get this intelligence. They're not telling him sources and methods. They're not telling him the names of our clandestine operators because they don't trust him. They just don't trust him. So you're seeing him being checked through every single part of our government, except for the executive branch, where he surrounded himself with these, with these white supremacists, which is what your friends are cheering. That is what they are rooting for, is a white America. That is just the long and short of it. And here's the thing, David. You live in the South. I live in the South. I know, there will always be about a third of this country that feels the white man is under attack, and the answer to that is not to re-educate themselves for engineering or for tech jobs or for the economy of the future. No, the answer is to blame the other. So they're right now in the knee deep or now they're neck deep in blaming brown people for their lot in life. But I hate to tell them, when you have 52 overdoses in Louisville, Kentucky over the weekend, it's not exactly the fault of the brown man that America is failing, in the South.
I'm nervous. I mean, I'm just nervous. I'm not a nervous type.
Well, I want to say something that should calm you down, because it's just maybe saying it out loud calm me down too. But this awesome Constitution of ours, this checks and balances thing that we talk about kind of cavalierly, and we just it's not a real thing. It's just a conceptual thing. Trust me, it's a real thing, and people inside government take it uber seriously in this way. When the president is wrong, when the president is lying, when the president is selling tow missiles to Iran and making hostage deals, believe me, the intelligence community, the Senate, the House of Representatives, after long last, will all react. They will wake the freak up and they will do something. There's all kinds of people in this government that took that oath to defend and protect against all enemies, foreign and domestic, who take it very seriously. And they are the forces at work right now. These are the people in the intelligence community. These are the people who are in the Senate. These are the staffers who are leaking. These are the Congress members who are sharing their stories with the news reporters. These people take their responsibility to check the powers of this unitary executive very, very seriously. And democracy works. It does. What Trump is trying. What Trump is trying.
Glad I found you, Randy.
Well, thank you. But honestly, just remember this: what Trump is trying to do is get rid of democracy. It's messy. It's slow. But in the end, it protects everyone. Everyone. It constantly gets better and better. There are still injustices in this country. Everyone knows that. It's not perfect. Trump is trying to destroy the checks and balances system. Democracy works. He will not succeed. Okay, just know that. It is an awesome system that we are so privileged to live in. That is what makes America exceptional. That, they want to talk about America being exceptional. The reason why is because we are a nation of laws and of checks and balances and of a constitutional representative republic. That is what we have, and we will keep it. You're welcome. So don't get too freaked out. It's just, the grinding of the wheels is what's, making your head hurt. But the wheels are grinding, and they're grinding him down, and they will grind him out. This man will be put out like just so much flotsam and jetsam. And I promise you, not only will he be the oldest president, not only will he be the most investigated president, but he will be the shortest serving president, except for, I forget who died. He had pneumonia and he died. It was like Garfield, maybe. He got pneumonia he was giving his inaugural, and he went on so long, and it was freezing cold outside, and he got sick and died. Indy in Princeton.
Hey there, Randy.
Hi.
Hi, Cat Room. How are y'all today? I wanted to call this a little off topic, but what's been driving me crazy, I'm a research scientist, and I hear them using words like media, journalism, and news interchangeably.
Yes.
And that's insane. Media is a big umbrella. It encompasses just about everything from cat videos that you find online,
right,
InfoWars. But journalism actually requires a set of skills that you must apply to research and understand the information that you want to present and make sure it's accurate.
Yeah.
News is simply the specific and direct reporting of the transmission of the accurate information.
Right.
I mean, if you operationally define these terms, no one in this administration seems to understand the difference between them. My advanced degrees aren't in journalism, but at the same time, I like my terms operationally defined.
Yeah, I hear you. And I've said that before, that media is not journalism. It isn't. Journalism requires a skill set. It requires fact-checking. It requires an editor's touch, meaning that the grammar, this is why they don't understand, like when we correct their grammar, while they're shrieking about media, why we do it. We do it to show them there's a difference between journalism and this Facebook feed you're reacting to, and these fake news, these fake sites that look like news but aren't news. They're not disseminating the real facts. They're disseminating their own twisted opinions based on nothing, and they're doing it for money. You click on it, they get ad money from it.
Exactly. If I think if people understood the difference between the concept of media and the concept of journalism,
yeah.
And of course, naturally, what news is, which is actually the reporting.
But don't you agree with me that the president denigrating news journalism, the journalists, the Jim Sciuttos, the Jim Acostas, Evan Perez, the Capitol Hill reporters, who are up there, Raju Manu, the real journalists in this world, the Ed Plankertons and the Kurt Eichenwalds and the people who really do spend their day interviewing, getting facts either on background or out in the open from people that they can quote, that they know will pass muster with their editors, with their ombudsman, with their fact checkers. PolitiFact is a Pulitzer Prize winning fact check organization. That when he denigrates all of these things that are built into the free press, which is supposed to be the fourth estate, when he denigrates them the same way that he denigrates the intelligence community, that he denigrates the judicial system, it's because he wants his supporters to have faith in one thing and one thing only, and that is him.
Oh, absolutely. If you can discredit people who are credentialed,
but that's
track record,
but that's dangerous. It's so super dangerous. This is like, this is such an autocratic technique to tell everyone you can't trust anybody. You can't trust your intelligence community. You can't trust your Congress. You can't trust your government. You can't trust the newspaper. You can't trust CNN. You can't trust, there's no one you can trust, only me. Don't they get how dangerous that is?
It's like a type of mind control. It's Charles Manson-ist, but people understood and asked, what is the operational definition of these words? If we stop to point out that media means something else than journalism,
yeah,
and news is different than information,
yeah,
I think it would really help people to understand, because I don't think most people think about it too.
Well, it's so funny, but I posted the video of Malcolm Nance, a 35-year intelligence and counterintelligence operator, and a former White House counsel, John Dean, and people said, get this garbage off my feed. I was like, an intelligence officer and a White House counsel is garbage. You're brainwashed, dude.
All things Randy at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randy Rhodes Show.
Hey, Trump is in the White House. Gold. Yes, gold. It really has the opportunity to do super well. That's definitely one good reason to own it. But did you know that there are a lot of benefits to owning gold? When you have gold in your physical possession, it provides safety. It's a hedge against inflation, U.S. dollar turmoil, and presidential instability. Gold has so much historical precedence as real money that the central banks that run the global financial system buy gold in staggering quantities year after year. Many financial service providers agree that gold is a great diversification tool for everyone's portfolio. If you want to learn more about the benefits of owning gold, just call my friends at ITM Trading at 1-888-OWN-GOLD. Whether you want to own physical gold in your possession or put some in your IRA, call ITM today at 1-888-OWN-GOLD. ITM specializes in all types of gold and silver coins and bars. Call ITM Trading. Get your free gold kit at 1-888-OWN-GOLD. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
This is Tara Devlin from RepublicanDirtyTricks.com on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. And here's an excerpt from my show, the It Sucks to Be Right Tara Buster. After the election on Facebook, I posted that I was looking forward to a historic day where we had a woman president. And a friend of mine who works in addiction, people know who listen to the show, I am an addict in recovery. And I know this person from the community of recovering people. She's a counselor in the addiction field. She wrote, I didn't vote for either one of them. They're both corrupt. And I said, you remind me of this Bertolt Brecht quote. The worst illiterate is the political illiterate. He doesn't hear, doesn't speak, or participate in political events. He doesn't know the cost of life, the price of the bean, of the fish, of the flour, of the rent, of the shoes, and of the medicine. All depends on political decisions. Of course, she didn't really like that and posted, well, you remind me of George Carlin, who says they're all crooks. And she posted this video. I'm well aware of George Carlin, but next time an addict seeking recovery comes into your office and can't get health care because Republicans have cut his lifeline, you can play that George Carlin quote for him and tell him, oh, well, everything's corrupt. What are you going to do? In the meantime, we have to live. We don't get to tap out. We have to participate. This is Tara Devlin from RepublicanDirtyTricks.com. That was a clip from my show, the It Sucks to Be Right Tara Buster, recorded live Saturday 6 p.m. Eastern at FYINation.com, replayed Sunday 7 p.m. Eastern on Progressive Voices, or anytime on demand on the Progressive Voices app. We stick together, we win.
Question: is the Trump administration and Steve Bannon in particular playing chess while we're all assuming they're playing checkers? Or put another way, is Bannon a master magician and we're the victims of sleight of hand? The recent immigration ban was so amateurishly conceived and executed that it has us thinking it must be misdirection, a ruse to cover something they don't want us to notice. Isn't it possible that by creating such a storm of controversy, they led us away from the real story? And that's installing Bannon on the National Security Council's Principals Committee. That's the most critical foreign policy committee in government. We all need to stay well informed, and Progressive Voices is here to play that role, but it's expensive. We're a nonprofit and we try to restrict commercial messaging, so that's where you come in. Please contribute right now by going to progressivevoices.com, clicking the donate button, and making your contribution. Keep all of our Progressive Voices, that's Tom, Steph, Randy, and you, loud and clear. Donate now at progressivevoices.com. Thanks.
This is the Randy Rhodes Show. To speak with Randy, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All right, Bob in Southern Ohio. Where? Bob? Bob? Oh, I wanted to talk to Southern Ohio. All right. Eddie in San Jose.
Where's Bob?
I don't know. I guess he's in a meeting. Wait a minute. Okay, you do realize, Paul, that it's our phone that's beeping. Really? Yes. People are calling in, and every time they call in, the phone is beeping. Are you supposed to put it on
That's something new.
Are you supposed to put it on auto attendant?
It was on that. We'll figure it out.
All right, because it's very annoying. All right, Eddie.
I heard a little beeping too. So.
Oh well, we hear it very, very loudly. It's going out over the feed. So.
Got it. Well, I just wanted to say you mentioned Malcolm Nance earlier. That was a great interview that you did earlier this week. It was extremely interesting, and he's the kind of guy you think about when you look at Trump, and people are saying that he's not being briefed because they're afraid he's going to reveal intelligence sources, methods, names of operatives, all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
And the reason I called in was you were talking earlier about who's being briefed on what, and what is Trump. Is it safe to brief Trump? Well, there's already been arrests in Russia around this. They publicize it as it's being related to the hacking of the election here in the U.S. It's not really clear, but there's two stories from late last month, and one of the guys who was arrested was actually a cybersecurity guy who worked for Kaspersky Labs, which is the antivirus program company.
Yeah.
And these guys could be assets, in fact, because that's what one of them was charged with, was accused of treason. And basically, when the Russians accuse someone of treason, that means they've been speaking to the Americans. So, what does this guy? What does Trump know? But more importantly, what did Flynn know? Flynn was talking directly to the Russian ambassador in late December after they started getting detailed intelligence briefings. Have they already outed agents and methods? This guy Flynn's I think he's going to be hauled out and prosecuted for this.
Either that, or he's going to move into the Ecuadorian embassy.
Well, yeah, he'll have to catch a flight out of the U.S. pretty fast to do that. But,
well, he better do it before the ban goes back.
He's already. Actually, it just came out. As I was on hold, I looked at the Washington Post. Flynn actually lied to FBI agents last month, is what they're saying. And he said that he did not discuss sanctions against Russia when he was being
okay. Let me stop you right there, because last night this drove me crazy. Last night it was reported, and I won't say who the reporter is because I don't want to damage the good work that this person does, and they do an enormous amount. But somebody reported last night that Flynn was off the hook with the FBI. And he was off the hook with the FBI because he was cooperative and he told them the truth. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be more about what his activities were during the campaign. What that means is he didn't lie to the FBI when the FBI had him in for questioning. And that's the only thing it means. But and then when I asked, this friend, this reporter, when I asked, could you please elaborate, I think is what I said. Could you please elaborate? What does this mean? It went dead silent, and there hasn't been an answer to whether or not he lied to the FBI. There's only been the floating of the idea that he didn't.
Right, and well, it kind of brings up a bigger question. I was listening to Marcy Wheeler talk about it. There could be some kind of a basically going on in the intelligence.
I can't take it. I gotta let you go. I'm sorry. I can't answer the phone because it's just driving me crazy.
Yeah, we're looking in with Comcast here. Sorry,
Comcast.
That's who does our phones.
No, it's our setting though. It's not on auto attendant. See, and that's what it needs to be on, so that when someone calls in, it forwards it to the answering machine. Right.
Well, this is turning into a comedy of errors because it was on, and then when you looked at it, he turned it off. You turned it back on. He turned it off, and you turned it back on.
No, it's not on. It wasn't on. No, I know it's not. Never mind. All right, I can't. I'll just.
Double to me, yes.
During your campaign,
Did anyone from your team communicate with members of the Russian government or Russian intelligence? And if so, what was the nature of those conversations?
Yeah. Well, the failing New York Times wrote a big, long front-page story yesterday.
The failing New York Times.
And
Can I just say this?
it was
Subscriptions to the New York Times. I'm a subscriber, and subscriptions to the New York Times are way, way off the hook up. People are loving the New York Times. I've always told you need to read the newspaper, and I said pick one. You can read the Wall Street Journal. Their front page today was pretty harrowing too. Their front page today was the story that the intelligence people that brief him, the presidential daily brief, that they're doing. First of all, he wanted a one-pager. He didn't want it, deep. He wanted a one-pager, and he wanted lots of maps. This is what he said. So they're like, none too happy to help you, sir. And so they're only briefing him on the most important, facts of today's security details. And they're not getting very deep with him. First of all, he asked them not to. And second, they're saying, we don't trust him. We just don't. So good thing he asked us to keep it short. So you can read the Wall Street Journal. I know that's supposed to be the more right wing of the newspapers, but they are a newspaper. The thing that's right wing about the Wall Street Journal is their editorial page, which is an opinion page, separate and apart from the news portion, where journalists write their stories. Their stories are vetted for everything from punctuation and spelling, grammar, all the way to the factual nature of it. Can you support this? Who was your source? Blah, blah, blah. And then it goes into your newspaper. So I don't care which newspaper you read, because the facts are going to be the facts. They're the same in the New York Times as they are in the Wall Street Journal. What's different is the editorial page. That's the opinion page. Now, if you think about news on television the same way, then what you will begin to understand is that Fox is the opinion page for the right. MSNBC is the opinion page for the left. CNN is the newspaper. It's the newspaper with the actual reporters included on these panels and in these discussions. The actual reporters, the shoe leather, the gumshoes, the real reporters who go out and gather the information. So, and then when they have these talk panels, that becomes the opinion portion. Where you see a Jeffrey Lord, that's a debate. That's an opinionated debate. When you see any of the Trump surrogates sitting on a panel, that is a debate. Hell, even Shepard Smith today said that what the president did was bizarre. All right. Anyway, his thing with Russia.
Very much discredited, as you know.
The New York Times. Right, let me start it.
And
anyone from your team communicate with members of the Russian government or Russian intelligence? And if so, what was the nature of those conversations?
Yeah. Well, the failing New York Times wrote a big, long front-page story yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was very much discredited, as you know.
By whom?
It's a joke. And the people mentioned the story. I noticed they were on television today saying they never even spoke to Russia. They weren't even a part, really. I mean, they were such a minor part. I hadn't spoken to them. I think the one person, I don't think I've ever spoken to him. I don't think I've ever met him.
Okay, I think he's talking about Carter Page here.
And he actually said he was a very low-level member of, I think, a committee for a short period of time. I don't think I ever met him. Now, it's possible that I walked into a room and he was sitting there, but I don't think I ever met him. I didn't talk to him ever, and he thought it was a joke.
Okay. I'm going to try. Gil in Atlanta.
Hey, Randy, I just wanted to tell you, I stumbled onto your show when I got Periscope, and I'm addicted. You are medicine for this madness for me. At 4 o'clock, I always look forward to listening to your show.
Thank
you. I tweeted Jake Acosta and Jake Tapper, and I told them, do you realize that every time he calls you fake news, that actually legitimizes you as real news? Because no one believes him. Like, this is, the more, if you're his enemy, that means you're on the side of good, and you're on the good side of history. So keep doing what you do and embrace the hate and aggressively continue to go after him.
I will, because, in the end, Gil, what we're dealing with is, he talks a great game about keeping America safe. But the thing that America needs to be safe from is him.
Yes. And, I feel like we're trapped in an episode of The Apprentice that won't end.
Yeah, I know. But the sad thing is, this isn't, we all know this is not a reality show anymore. This is real. This is the real world. This is life. This is the real world. There really is a submarine 30 miles off of Connecticut. There really is a nuclear arsenal that's pointed at us, and we've got a nuclear arsenal that's pointed at them. And there really is, an enormous amount of death going on in Syria. There really is a mass refugee crisis. There really are people who are hiding out in churches right now so they don't get deported, who have been here for 20, 25, 30 years. I mean, this is really happening, and he's treating it as if it's, all about ratings. That's all he talks about is ratings and his electoral college. He lied about it's biggest electoral college sweep since Reagan. 5 minutes later, a reporter says, no, George Bush had 437 electoral votes. Obama had 365. What are you talking about? Oh, well, I just read that somewhere. Someone gave me that information. Really?
He lied.
You're the president of the United States. Producers can't be giving you information about a Little John. Okay, that can't be happening.
I can't wait until he's a piece. It's going to be the greatest day ever. I just believe when in the end it will be found out that he is on the payroll of Russia and all his staff. I think they all have links to Russia. I think in the end, that's what will happen. But,
well, I got a funny feeling that, remember there was a story about him having a server in his office straight to Alpha Bank. And they said it was just for advertising. Now, who the hell does something like that? Alpha Bank is a Russian bank. Deutsche Bank, the German bank, holds the loans for most of Trump's real estate. I know they hold the loan on Trump Tower. I know they hold the loan on a couple of Miami things. They also have Ivanka's money. They have Eric's money. Now, Deutsche Bank is under investigation by our Department of Justice, which is now Jeff Sessions. Why? Why are they under investigation? For laundering Russian oligarchs' money. Now, okay, so if he's a client of Deutsche Bank and he's got a server in his office to Alpha Bank, the Russian bank, but Deutsche Bank is under investigation for laundering Russian oligarchs' money, especially when it comes to Trump Tower, that's who buys those apartments, are oligarchs from Russia. They're looking to, it's called a capital flight. They don't trust Russia. They know it's not safe to keep their billions there, even though that's where they made them, from being oligarchs. So they move their money and they buy real estate in New York. They buy real estate in Miami. And so you need somebody to move that money. That's what Deutsche Bank is under investigation for. And Donald Trump owes $300 million to Deutsche Bank.
It's amazing.
And now Jeff Sessions is in charge of the Justice Department that will oversee the investigation into Deutsche Bank. Sorry, nobody's going to believe that you don't have any connections to people who launder Russian oligarchs' money.
Exactly.
And this whole thing, I got to say, thank you for calling me.
Okay, bye.
Bye. And I also have to say this. This thing where he's going to investigate because these leakers in our intelligence community, they're committing acts of criminal acts and blah, blah, blah. If, let's say, I'm an intelligence officer, okay? Let's just say I'm Carrie. Not Bradshaw. Although I would kill to have her body. But let's say I'm doing clandestine stuff. And let's say I'm supposed to be spying on Russia, and all the people known to our intelligence community are supposed to be spied upon by people like me. And I'm doing my job, and I'm recording every intelligence officer in the Russian KGB, which is now called the FSB, same thing. And I am doing my job, and I come across some really horrific stuff about the incoming president of the United States. And I'm just freaked out by this. So I can't give my tape to anybody that doesn't have a security clearance. So I might give it to the Intelligence Committee in the Senate or in the House. I just might do that. Or I could go to one of my friends who also works in counterintelligence or intelligence in, let's say, a Baltic state like, I don't know, I've been there and it's pretty freaking beautiful, Estonia. That would be a great post to have. Estonia is gorgeous. So I'm in Estonia and I'm recording Russian communications, and I say to my colleague, or to my not colleague because we don't work for the same intelligence outfit, but we're both in intelligence, we know each other, whatever. I say to them, I can't, but you can. You can transcribe those phone calls that you've also been recording because you sit on the wall protecting Estonia from Russian incursion. So would you do me a favor? Do the transcript from you and send it over here. No laws have been broken, and that's how leaks happen. Moron that Trump doesn't know this. He doesn't. An idiot boy that was supposed to be head of the Defense Intelligence Agency couldn't remember what he said, number one. And number two, well, when he said it, he didn't realize that all the ears of all the Balkan states that are sitting there just freaked out that Russia is invading Crimea, Russia is invading Georgia, Russia is on the border of Ukraine, and Estonia is right there. Go look on a map, see where Estonia is, Lithuania, go look and see where it is, okay? You think they don't have intelligence services that are recording the same damn conversations? Well, if they leaked it, if they gave it out, there's no criminal activity on the part of any American intelligence person. Now, is there? Now, the same damn thing about, he said, it was a test. I'm on the phone with Mexico, and all of a sudden, the conversation is made public. That's because two things. One, there's the Records Act that demands that all foreign, leaders are recorded when the president engages with them. And then a transcript is created. And guess what? It happens on the Mexican side too, which is where we got the information about their phone call.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
I'm David Pakman, host of The David Pakman Show on the Progressive Voices channel. Check out this clip from my show. Donald Trump's approval rating has imploded. Gallup does a daily tracking poll of presidential approval. They've been doing it for a very, very long time. President Trump's job approval rating hit a new low over the weekend, 40%, 55% approving. These results are based on a 3-day rolling average, and Trump's approval ratings have been ticking down slightly, a little bit at a time since he assumed office. You'll remember at the beginning of his presidency, he had a 45% job approval rating, up from the just pre-inauguration level of about 37%. The committed Trumpists only believe information that supports Trump's amazing popularity. Trump has already said, if there's any polls that are bad about me, they're fake news. The reality, of course, is that only about 25% of the population voted for Trump. I suspect that there is quite a low floor for what Donald Trump's approval rating could ultimately be. And when Trump led in the polling, all he talked about were polls. And when the polls aren't good, we saw this during the run-up to the election, and we're seeing it now with his approval rating, all of a sudden it's not an issue. Now, as a reminder, let me put up the graphic that I used a few days ago. It took Donald Trump only 8 days to get to 50% presidential disapproval. You'll remember that over 700 days went by before Ronald Reagan got to 50% disapproval. Over 1,300 days for Bush 1 and 1,200 days for Bush 2. It took President Obama just under 1,000 days to get to 50% disapproval, and Bill Clinton getting to 50% disapproval for the first time after 573 days. 8 days. 8 days for Donald Trump to get to 50% disapproval. You know the most shocking thing to me about this poll, Pat? That 4 out of 10 people in the country approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing. What do you approve of?
It honestly seems rather high, and I think if Donald Trump continues to abuse his power and make all these mistakes, I think that number could be cut in half relatively soon.
Yeah, I know. I've talked for a very long time how there's a contingent of the country that will support the president no matter what, and there's a contingent of the country that will disapprove of the president no matter what. And the in-between is sort of where elections are won and lost. It's where the approval rating of a president can go up or go down. Remember, 25% of the country voted for Trump. This is a very unusual situation that we're in, and I agree with Pat that Donald Trump's approval rating could go way lower before it bottoms out. If you had to guess, will the Michael Flynn Russia-connected resignation hurt Trump's approval rating, or will it be sort of a non-factor?
No, I don't think it'll be a factor because, I mean, I think people who are willing to be swayed on whether they approve of Trump or not aren't into the weeds enough to even know who Michael Flynn is.
You think? I mean,
Yeah.
it's been headline news for the last 12 hours or so, although I agree with you that there's a big contingent which just doesn't care. Oh, Trump's connected to Russia or he's not. Michael Flynn, what does he do? Who was he anyway?
I mean, the Russian connection stuff's definitely. I mean, if that gets more exposure, I think that could hurt him significantly.
Yeah.
But Michael Flynn specifically, not so much.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you. If the Russia angle is what sort of is perceived as the main story, that could have an impact. But Flynn specifically, although the general sense that it's chaos and everything's falling apart, that could hurt Donald Trump. What I want to dig into tomorrow or the next day is, has Donald Trump actually done anything tangible in the 3 weeks that he's been president? There's differing opinions about that, and we're going to dig into that in the next couple of days. You've been listening to part of the David Pakman Show on the Progressive Voices channel. For full audio and video podcasts, interviews, and more, go to davidpakman.com and check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The David Pakman Show.
The Randi Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
The Randi Rhodes Show is live on randyrhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or progressivevoices.com now.
Wall Street Journal did a story today that was almost as disgraceful as the failing New York Times story yesterday.
All journalists
And
are lying.
It talked about
The courts,
this is our front page.
The intelligence community
So,
blows.
Director of National Intelligence just put out, acting, a statement. Any suggestion that the United States intelligence community, this was just given to us, is withholding information and not providing the best possible intelligence to the president and his national security team is not true.
Right. They are providing you the intelligence that you need to have to, act on any threats. They are giving you that. Just like they gave George W. Bin Laden determined to strike within the United States on August 6th, and he did nothing, right? Of course they're going to tell you, because they don't want you to be able to say, well, you didn't tell me. So of course they're going to tell you. They are withholding, though, sir, sources and methods from you because they don't trust you. So that was a very parsed statement that the acting director of national intelligence gave today. The Wall Street Journal did not lie. He doesn't understand parsing. Oh, yeah, right.
So they took this front page story out of the Wall Street Journal, top, and they just wrote the story that it's not true.
It is true.
And I'll tell you something, I'll be honest, because I sort of enjoy this back and forth, and I guess I have all my life, but I've never seen more dishonest media than, frankly, the political media. I thought the financial media was much better, much more honest. But I will say that I never get phone calls from the media. How do they write a story like that in the Wall Street Journal without asking me? Or how do they write a story in the New York Times, put it on front page? That was like the story they wrote about the women and me. Front page, big, massive story. And it was nasty. And then they called, they said, we never said that. We like Mr. Trump.
Who?
They called up my office. We like Mr. Trump. We never said that.
Who?
And it was they totally misrepresented those very wonderful women. I have to tell you, totally misrepresented.
Who is he talking about? Who is he talking about? The Miss Utah that said that he comes into the Miss Teen USA pageant and looks at all the young girls naked? I don't think they called her and she said, that's not true. I forget the name of the woman that's going forward with her lawsuit with Gloria Allred. I don't think they called her and she said it wasn't true. Miss Arizona, I don't think they called her and she said it wasn't true. I don't think that they called, what's his name, Billy Bush, where he was caught on tape saying you can do anything you want to these women. You can grab them by the, hello. I don't think that they called Billy Bush and he said, oh, it's not true. I doctored the tape. What is he? He cannot tell the truth. It's just such an amazing thing to watch. Oh, Bob in Southern Ohio.
Yeah, we got cut off before. Do you hear me?
I do. Where are you calling me from?
I live a mile and a half from the Portsmouth gases diffusion plant.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh my God! I bet you we have some friends there that we both know. This is crazy.
Wow.
I used to live there, you know.
We're near the Portsmouth gases diffusion plant.
Yeah, I used to live in West Portsmouth, in the hills.
Hey, I used to know a lot of people in West Portsmouth when I was younger because I partied a lot. So.
Did you ever go up to a bonfire on Wolf Run?
Wolf Run, I know where that's at, but...
Well, then we know each other.
Wow.
I know.
How I found you, well, Stephanie Miller, and then I saw you with Trey Crowder. So.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Yeah. I'm sort of a hillbilly redneck, too. Like I was telling your guy, I've got partials, so I don't meet the teeth qualification. I've been in prison shooting someone, so... But I'm definitely a liberal, and that freaks my friends out. How can you do that? All the shit you've done. Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to say that.
It's all right.
Okay.
It's all right. Go ahead. Express yourself.
Okay, and I go to Portsmouth or Waverly to shop, and I run into friends, and I talk to them, and they can't understand why I voted for Hillary, and I can't understand why they don't see all the stuff that Trump's done that he don't need voted for. So.
Yeah. Well, it's because they'd rather believe the bad. The bad stuff, Bob. You know this. The bad stuff's easier to believe. Than the good stuff. Even the stuff about your own self. It's so much easier to believe the bad stuff about yourself than it is the good stuff. Why? Because if you realize you have potential, or if you realize the country has potential, or if you realize black lives really do matter, or if you realize that you need to go to a city bigger than Walmart once in your life, okay, then you have to do something. But if you just think everything sucks, then you could sit down, drink beer at 10 o'clock in the morning, fry up some bologna, play a card game, and call it a life.
Okay, well, if you're from West Portsmouth, then about the only black people we have in Pike County is in a place called East Jackson. So there might be very, very few of them in Pike County.
Yes, I understand, but you know what? As long as you understand, as long as you understand why they believe all this swill, all this stuff. And the answer is very simple. It's because the bad stuff is easier to believe than the good stuff. If they believed that America had potential, that our best days are ahead of us, that we could do better for leadership than what we got now, if they understood that, they had personal potential to go anywhere they wanted to go in the world, as long as they, put their nose to the grindstone, stayed lucid all day, didn't shoot up, snort, or blow their brains out by, the 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then they would have to do something about their lot in life. So that's why they reject it.
There's been people dying doing the elephant tranquilizer and heroin in Pike County.
Oh, I know. I saw it. Did you see any news this weekend about what happened in Louisville, Kentucky?
Yeah, that's wild too.
I know we tell Kentucky. Tell me a Kentuckian joke.
The people were fishing on the high side of the river, and they seen some Kentuckians, and they said, "Hey, why don't you walk over here and fish with us? We're catching a lot of fish. I'll put the light beam over, and you can walk over on the light beam." And the Kentuckian said, "Oh, no, I know what you'll do. I'll get halfway across, and you'll turn the light off."
I haven't heard a Kentuckian joke in years and years and years, but I did live there. I lived there a long time, and probably too long is what happened. But I bet you Bob knows some of the people I know. I'll just say hi, Joe. I'll just say hi to Joe. Hi, Joe. I said Joe for Christmas a little pick maker, where you take your credit cards or any kind of plastic and you put it in this machine and you slam down the machine like a stapler and it makes guitar picks for you. And Joe is a great musician. I'll bet you Bob knows who Joe is. But Joe and I were practically related. I'll just say that. So I still have people down there that I seriously care about, and I know what it is to live down there. I understand, and I also understand why people are so ready to believe the bad stuff rather than the good stuff. Because if you start to believe in your own potential, if you start to believe in the potential of this country, if you start to believe that the reason why we're here, this generation, and the one that comes after us is here, is to make it a more perfect union, not to destroy it, because democracy is messy and inconvenient, and because it requires integrity, and it's all about character. Being president is almost entirely about character. And this man has none. And that's why he's so difficult to wrap your brain around, because you're used to seeing a statesman. You're used to seeing somebody with integrity. You're used to seeing honesty, and you're used to seeing, difficult questions being answered, even though you might not like the answer. Saying, I could have done better. That, one of my biggest regrets was, the genocide this president will never say stuff like that. And so he's easy to follow if you're a person who believes in the dark part of life, or if you're a person who believes in the bad stuff and can't recognize your own potential, then this guy is your guy. Remember, if you recognize all the potential this country has and all the potential you have, then you have to do something about it. And that requires effort. These little armchair warriors that call me names and blah, 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 they do it. They do it because it's easy. The hard stuff is what we do. All right, tomorrow is the national strike. I think we're going to work. Okay, I think we should. People have told me we should. But tomorrow is the national strike. Don't buy anything.
The top of the hour from the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. Instead of commercials, you've got progressive news and interviews right here at the top of the hour.
Hello, Progressive Voices TuneIn listeners. I'm Casey Hobbs.
And I'm Shane Mason, and we're the hosts of Nurse Talk Radio.
Here's what we're talking about this week.
So, Casey, I know we have a busy show today, but I wanted to take a minute to have you sign some orders for me.
What kind of orders? And why do I have to sign them?
Well, they're orders that I think will make a lot of nurses very happy, and patients are going to love them. And if you don't sign them, our country will be in great danger.
Why me? I don't have authority to sign any kind of sweeping orders.
I promise this is going to bring comfort, safety, and prosperity to all who are affected. It's going to be beautiful.
Wow, where have I heard that before? Okay, fine. Give it to me.
The first one is, effective immediately, all hospital CEOs and non-medical management staff will be replaced by nurses and will include a patient's board of advisors. It's going to be nice. You'll like it.
Have our attorneys looked at these?
No.
Has anybody but you looked at these?
No.
Okay. Where do I sign?
All right, this one is, effective tomorrow, all big pharma CEOs and executive staff who are suspected of price gouging will be arrested and convicted of racketeering and robbery the day after you sign this. Further, they'll be sentenced to work in the pill production lines for a period of 5 years or more, and they'll receive $3 an hour, which will go towards the cost of their very own incarceration. Now, you're going to like this one. Safe staffing ratios. We're going to have the best safe staffing.
Now, I like this one. I'm into this now. I feel very powerful, important. Give me the next one.
Social Security provides life insurance, disability insurance, and pensions, annuities that you cannot outlive, that will stay with you for the rest of your life.
Every month, 60 million receive Social Security benefits. Nearly 2 out of 3 seniors depend on it for most of their income.
Without it, the poverty rate of our seniors would be 44%.
So when I see and hear that Social Security is going bankrupt, and when I see and hear that it's contributing hugely to the national debt, what am I actually hearing? Are those numbers being cooked in some way? What's going on?
They're not being cooked, but they're being spun. Mm-hmm. This is propaganda. I mean, first of all, Social Security, as I say, has this dedicated revenue that goes into a trust fund, just like a private trust. It's a trust that's held on behalf of American workers. Most of the revenue comes from premiums paid by workers and matched by their employers. Whenever there's a surplus, that money is invested, and so there is investment income is a second source. And in 1983, a decision was made to tax benefits the way that private pensions are taxed, so part of your income tax for income tax purposes, and that money is paid into and dedicated to Social Security. So the biggest source is the premiums, and then about 8% of the revenue comes from the other two sources.
So why is Social Security irreplaceable then, Nancy?
It really is a program that works, and that really only works the best when we all are part of it. And Social Security is so valuable because, as I say, it's basic wage insurance, sponsored by the government, so all of us participate, all of us contribute, and then all of us draw out when one of the insured events occurs. Now, Social Security is extremely conservatively managed and financed. You know, most pension plans project out 10, 20, 30 years. Most countries around the world project out their Social Security 20 or 30 or 40 years. Social Security every year projects out 75 years. When you project out, that's almost as long as the program's been around. When you project out that far, you're occasionally going to show surpluses unintended. You're occasionally going to find unexpected shortfalls. It's nothing to be alarmed about. It's like you have a highway system. You expect that there's going to need upkeep and maintenance. And that's where this myth that it's going bankrupt. So that is just a lie that it contributes anything to the deficit.
Do you know what the Republicans are suggesting to put in place? They want to get rid of Social Security. Do they have a better plan?
They don't have a better plan. They have a different plan. And this has been a plan they've had since 1935. And that is, first of all, for the most part, they believe everybody on their own. So it's, you know, they don't like this idea that we're all in this together.
Yeah, why would you want to think
and
that?
People on Wall Street would love to get some of this money. The other is ideological. Social Security puts a lie to the claim that the private sector always does everything better than the public sector. The private sector has an important role to play, but so does our government, and Social Security is one of those. And the idea is that we all contribute. We're the United States. We're not just individuals. We are collectively together, and this is a program where we all contribute and we all have this level of protection. The Republican Party wants to cut and completely dismantle Social Security and Medicare. So it is very important for people to stay vigilant and involved and let their members know no cuts to Social Security, no cuts to Medicare. Not only can we fully afford Social Security, we can fully afford a much expanded Social Security, and that's what we should be doing.
Check out our show at nursetalksite.com and listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on Progressive Voices.
You've been listening to Top of the Hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. Commercial-free interviews and exclusive progressive news and information at the top of the hour.